All right, Ryan. So we enter the divisional round of the playoffs in 2022, and I gotta say, and I don't know, I haven't heard whether or not record wise this is any sort of NFL record of winning percentage teams, but in the NFC specifically, uh, the teams that are left, you can't ask for better competition at the top. And really, I don't even think you can. I think you could say the same in the AFC. I mean, the final 8 teams left in the 2022 NFL playoffs are as good as I think we could have expected or hoped for.
Yeah, I don't know if the 49ers are as good as maybe the rest of them, but we'll see. I mean, we'll see. That they certainly are a tough matchup for Green Bay. They have been over the years. If they can run the ball down Green Bay's throat, then that's less time for Aaron Rodgers. But no, I mean, I'm expecting good games. It better be good games because 4 of the 6 games last weekend were stinkers.
Yeah, that's true.
And certainly speaks to my point that I've been saying for 2 years now, which is the 7 seed. Great. I know why they did it. Boosted TV revenue, more football games, the better, fans say. But they watered down the competition because the 2 seed is going to pulverize the 7 seed more, 85, 90% of the time. 7 seed does not belong.
No, and we talked about that last week when I mentioned to you as a Jet fan how excited you can feel that if you just get everything work out for you with injuries and your quarterback progresses and all that kind of stuff, that even in 2022, the Jets could compete for a playoff spot with that 7 seed. So,
yeah, and then you get pulverized by a team like the Buccaneers.
True, and that exactly, and so it took a little bit for that to work into favor of the NFL with that 6 seed. I remember early on it really wasn't going that well, but then there was that run of a few years where there were some really good upsets or teams that were getting hot and they were just getting into the playoffs, like the Baltimore Ravens, and they were finding ways to get and win Super Bowls. Yeah. But then over the last 10 years, that's gone away and it's been back to if you're the 1 seed, you're going to get to the Super Bowl, that kind of thing. So maybe, I don't know, maybe in 5 or 10 years, one of these years we'll see a 7 seed make a run, but we're probably a few years from that.
Yeah, it all depends. I mean, look, it depends on the quality of teams, and anybody who watched the league all year knew the Steelers and the Eagles were not playoff caliber teams.
By the way, your video has been off the whole time, just so you know. I don't know if you can do anything about it, but just letting you know. There you go. All right, so it's better the other way, actually, Ryan. No.
That's what John Mara said to me. I asked John Mara a question last week with my video off. I said, John, sorry, I can't get my video to work. He said, it's better I don't see your face, Brian.
Okay, so let's. But before we get into it, though, I do want to ask you, as always, we kind of start off with the beat that you cover, of course, for the New York Post, not just the NFL, but the New York Giants in particular. Anything on the GM front?
They're down right now. They have 3 finalists coming in for second interviews. Joe Shane was in there yesterday. Ryan Poles today. We're recording this on a Wednesday, and Adam Peters tomorrow. So those will be the 3 finalists. Is it possible they have a choice Thursday or Friday? It's possible. Right now, I'd say there's probably not going to be another finalist, so they could make a decision by Thursday night, Friday. But here's the thing. You're not allowed to interview head coach candidates who are in the playoffs after this weekend's game. So I don't know. I mean, if you told me they hired a coach, if they hired the GM Friday morning, could they sneak in interviews Friday night with Daboll and Leslie Frazier and Bieniemy? I guess they could, but that seems awfully rushed. So if you're not going to get to the head coach search, then you might as well make sure you have the right GM, and doesn't look like the other teams are going to steal. It's almost like the 3 teams put the Raiders aside because they moved on late. It's almost like it's almost like the Vikings, Bears, and Giants are playing chicken to see who hires the first guy. And then as soon as one team hires one, the next two guys will hire their guy because they can't afford to lose them. So that's what seems to happen in these scenarios.
And you mentioned it last week, and I started to look it over and feel the same way when I was going over the list, like everybody's list of who they've interviewed and who they're thinking about bringing in for interviews. And I'm like, this is it? I mean, these are the guys that
it doesn't impress me.
Hire?
You mean as a head coach?
As a head coach.
Yeah, the head coach list does not impress. The GM list impresses me more than the head coach list.
Yeah, the head coach list is pretty much that's why, I mean, looking at that list, I don't think there's any doubt Brian Flores will get a job. Todd Bowles probably gets a job. And I don't know. I mean,
Dayball's
get
a job.
Yeah, those are the three guys. And Bieniemy probably gets a job, maybe.
I don't think so.
You just think that he's just a failure in these interviews, and he's just not going to be able to get over the hump.
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak for why he hasn't gotten a job yet. I don't know, but I do know that right now teams are like, well, even if he does have a good interview, what are we not seeing that 10 other teams passed on him already? Like, that you reach a point of diminishing returns, and this isn't just Eric Bieniemy. This is any 10 interviews. If you're 0 for 10 getting hired, then teams suddenly are like, well, we like you, but why didn't this team like you or this team like you? What aren't we seeing?
Yep.
And it starts to work against you. And that's not Bieniemy. That's happened to coaches, over the last 3 decades,
Okay, so let's run through these games and also obviously look ahead at the divisional round and start with Cincinnati. They had the win over Las Vegas, and when it started to get close there at the end, of course, you had to start thinking about here come the Raiders again, that they're going to find a way to score a touchdown, then they're going to go for 2. And then who knows, maybe they're going to steal this win against a team that hasn't won a playoff game in 31 years, but Derek Carr did what I think is the problem with Derek Carr, is he took that sack. And it's like, you cannot take that sack in that spot at the end of the game when you had about 3 seconds to throw the ball. It wasn't like it was a quick pass rush. You had a moment or two, then you have to do something. You got to get out of the pocket. You got to throw the ball away. You cannot take a sack like that. He did, and that was pretty much it. But they almost came back. It was a nice story for the Raiders as long as they can make it last. But the biggest story was really Cincinnati finally getting over the hump and moving on to take on Tennessee, which should be a very interesting game considering the spread is only 3.5 as well. It should be. This should be a good game.
So going backwards for a sec, my problem with Derek Carr wasn't the sack; it was the spike on first and 10
absolutely,
at the 10 yard line. First and 10 at the 10-yard line. I don't know how much time they had.
There was 29 seconds left.
20, and the game ends with like 13 seconds left, which show the Bengals have to come out and take a knee, which shows you didn't need to spike the ball there. When you're down by 7, you don't give away a down. If you don't get to fourth down, if the time runs out because you only had first, second, and third down, well then so be it. But you don't give away first down and guarantee yourself only second, third, and fourth down. If you only have 3 downs because time ran out, so be it. You don't give away a chance to have a fourth down. That was a bonehead play by the Raiders. Otherwise, I mean that penalty, that inadvertent whistle, I thought was a huge deal. The Raiders clearly stopped playing on that play. They end up losing by a touchdown. What happens if they do that? Play should be a do-over. It should be an inadvertent whistle, replay the down. Do the Bengals score? I don't know, but certainly the Raiders, who are still steaming from the Tuck rule 20 years ago. That inadvertent whistle isn't going to sit much better with them, honestly, 20 years later. But looking forward to the game, Bengals Titans. I think it could be interesting. I actually picked the Bengals. I just don't know. Do we know if Derrick Henry is playing yet? That's what I don't know.
It's right now. It all signs are pointing towards that happening, but no announcement's been made.
Gotcha.
And no announcement probably should be made.
No.
Yeah.
So I'll pick the Bengals because in the playoffs, I like teams that I think can score quickly, and the Bengals can score quickly.
Okay. By the way, Derek Carr, do you think he should be traded? Do you think they should go ahead and play out his $19 million contract for this year and then decide what to do with him? Should they give him an extension?
I would love to see them play it out. I don't know if he will be agreeable to that, but look, I don't know that this is the problem. We talk about this almost every week. There's a lot of average quarterbacks in the NFL. If you tell me you could get Deshaun Watson free of legal issues, or Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers, then yeah, do it. If not, you could do a lot worse than Derek Carr.
Yeah, I agree. And Derek Carr loves the Raiders organization.
Yeah.
So I think the best thing is,
I think you can win with Derek Carr.
I think you stick with Carr, but I think you and I know where you stand on this, but that's not how GM stand. I think especially this draft, take one of those quarterbacks in the second or third round. The kid from Liberty or something like that, just so you have a young quarterback just in case. Okay. Also, and by the way, Mike Mayock was fired, and I guess I'm not too surprised about that. I know there was a lot of hit and misses there, but there were some hits, and I just think it was just a matter of they just probably wanted a clean house because Mayock was almost like a Gruden kind of match, and I think once Gruden went out, you kind of saw the writing was on the wall with Mayock.
Correct. That's what happened, but I mean, there are more misses than hits for Mike Mayock. What's funny is if Mike Mayock, who came from NFL Network, where he was an analyst ranking players, if he had just picked based on like Mel Kiper or Daniel Jeremiah's lists, then he probably would still be employed. But he had these crazy first round picks.
Alex Leatherwood.
Yeah, Clelin Ferrell, 4th overall.
Yeah, that was the disaster right there. That one. Yeah.
Damon Arnett, like 17th. He was like 50th on those lists. If he had just picked according to the list that media people use, he'd probably still be employed.
Yeah, it's sort of like he wanted to be smarter than everybody else and pick these guys a lot earlier. Okay, moving on. So again, you like Cincinnati in the game against Tennessee, and even if Derrick Henry plays.
I mean, obviously that tilts it if Derrick Henry plays, but I'm still if Derrick Henry plays, I got to see him be Derrick Henry.
Sure.
If Derrick Henry suits up and goes 12 carries for 50 yards, then I still like Cincinnati.
And keep this in mind.
If you're telling me he's going to be ready to do 29 for 200, yeah, I like Tennessee.
Yeah, and keep this in mind: the Bengals, who had that 31-year drought, 0-6 straight up and against the spread. Run as far as on the playoffs as a road dog, and this is of course the situation they're in right now. But again, it's only 3.5 points. Burrow first road game in the playoffs as well. But I kind of like Tennessee in this one. Okay, so next up came the Buffalo New England game, which was the blowout, and I'm going to talk with Evan Lazar later today about it, but. The writing was on the wall. Talked about this with Evan last week. The Patriots have been getting behind early in these games lately, and they can't come back. That's not the type of team. And they did it again. And they faced a Buffalo team that this is all about winning a Super Bowl. For New England, they had reached a goal that they set. Hey, we made the playoffs. And again, you mentioned this last week. Yeah, Belichick's going to make sure that that's not the case, but this is a young team, and I just think that once they got behind, it was almost like they were done. Anyway, huge performance by the Bills that wakes them up at the perfect time. Not that they haven't played well this year, but can they play consistently now? Can they follow that up with a really good performance against the Chiefs? That's the big question.
Yeah, I mean, Josh Allen is Jekyll and Hyde so far this year. What's nice to see is their running game has come alive.
Yes,
Devin Singletary's had like 4 good games in a row. I think that's big because, they can try to win a shootout with Kansas City. I wouldn't recommend it. So Kansas City doesn't have much of a rushing attack, though Jerick McKinnon played pretty well the other day. I think if Buffalo has a better rushing attack, that helps them. I really do, because then that's less time for Mahomes to have the ball. But look, a lot of people thought Arizona-LA would be a classic game. I did not. I don't know if I said it on this show or not. I expected LA to blow them out. They did. I expect Kansas City-Buffalo to be a classic. 35-35. high scoring, whoever has the ball with 2 minutes left, you have no chance of stopping that quarterback kind of game. That's like one of those old Peyton Manning, Tom Brady games is what I expect.
Yeah, and I think that is trouble for the Bills. The reason is because the Bills have a better defense in Kansas City, and they need to use that to their advantage. And if they don't, and if they get into a shootout, then that's not good. You don't want to get into a shootout, no matter if you're Josh Allen or not, with Patrick Mahomes, especially in Kansas City. Especially because the Bills under McDermott have never won a playoff game on the road. They're 3-0 at home. They're 0-3 on the road. That's not good. So they got to break that.
They lost one. Can you name the? So we know they lost last year to Kansas City, right?
Yes.
They lost at Kansas City. Where else have they lost, the Bills under McDermott?
If I had a guess, or do you want me to look?
I know one of them.
Oh, you do?
I know one of them.
Was one Tennessee?
They lost at. It's hard to believe, but they lost at Jacksonville.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Who was the quarterback?
Jacksonville made.
Was that Allen?
Tyrod Taylor, I think.
Oh, okay.
It's
hard to believe. I can't even. I'm surprised that McDermott's been there that long.
Yeah, 17, I think was his first year.
Yeah, so that's the thing. So I always kind of mix McDermott with Allen.
Yeah.
And I know that's not the case. Let's see. Playoff, what did they do here? They were in the playoffs. You said 17. Yeah, McDermott, 17. Lose to Jacksonville. They scored 3 points in the game.
Yeah.
And then they played Houston. I remember that one.
Yeah. There was a crazy field goal or something at the end of the game.
They had the penalty. That was a bad penalty call on the lineman for the Bills.
It's hard to believe, though, if you sit there. That was my point. I'm glad that we're where we are right now, where Buffalo is a Super Bowl contender, and they have losses on the road to Houston and Jackson.
Yeah. At least they ramped it up to Kansas City last year. Yeah. In the championship game, of course. So this is the rematch.
I like Buffalo in a high-scoring game. That's what I like.
I like Buffalo as well, and we'll see if they can break the schneid there on the road. Okay. Meanwhile, Kansas City got the win over Pittsburgh, and early on it was like, okay, well, Pittsburgh. Remember we talked about this. You felt that they would hang with them at halftime, and then Kansas City would open up in the second half. Well, it lasted until 13 seconds to go in the half when they gave up a 48-yard touchdown to a tight end. I don't care how good Travis Kelce is. That's terrible. That's just terrible.
Yeah, middle of the second quarter, you knew it was over. It was over.
Yeah, 14. Once they took the lead,
Pittsburgh couldn't do anything. They were exactly what you would thought Pittsburgh was. They're in quarterback hell. I wrote this for the Post on Monday morning. The Steelers are in quarterback hell. There's ways to go here. Mock the Packers if you want for the first round pick on Jordan Love, or the Giants for Daniel Jones when Eli Manning was here, or I don't know, the 49ers for Trey Lance when Garoppolo's there. But look, the Saints came one game short of the playoffs, and they started 4 guys. You don't think they wish that they had a quarterback lined up behind Drew Brees? Like the Steelers are a good team who are in a lot of trouble next year because they're gonna end up starting. You could tell right now they're going to have 2 different starting quarterbacks next year because they're not going to know what to do. They didn't line up a guy behind Roethlisberger. They should have been aggressive last year in the draft and traded up for one of the 5 guys. They didn't, and I think they're going to pay the price with it, wasting 1 year of a good team.
I think the interesting thing with them is are they understanding that? And Mike Tomlin's been there a while. That hey, we're going to draft either. We're going to draft one of these quarterbacks, Pickett, hometown kid, one of those things, and he's going to have to play right away, like all these first rounders, and you're going to have to deal with it for a couple of years. Or if that's just not the way that they feel they're built, then they got to go out and get a veteran quarterback in some way. So,
and I think that's what from poking around the league, that's what I think they're going to do, honestly. I don't think that Mike Tomlin wants to do the draft and develop, maybe take a swing and miss and a 5-year step back. My feeling is Mike Tomlin wants a veteran guy in here. Will it be a top-end veteran guy, Russell Wilson? I don't know. But if you ask me, are they more likely to have Ryan Fitzpatrick or who's the kid from Malik Willis? Yeah, Malik Willis or Ryan Fitzpatrick. I tell you, they're more likely to have Ryan Fitzpatrick.
All right, so Pittsburgh is out, and Kansas City moves on to play Buffalo. Also, Tampa Bay, they had no. I mean, they have this huge 31-0 lead, and then they really made the anybody that gambled on Tampa Bay sweat it out there at the end. How why am I sweating this out at 31-0? This thing would have been over.
Because they took the foot off the gas. They didn't. I mean, I don't. I stopped watching the game because I had some work to do on the Giants. But they probably. My guess would be they subbed out most of their defense. They're so injury plagued. My guess would be they subbed out most of the defense, and that's why the Eagles started to get a little something going. I know they didn't sub out Brady, but
and Hurts definitely didn't look good at all early. That's not surprising. First playoff game on the road against the Bucs. Came on, played a little bit better, but again, that's because there was a blowout. I don't understand why they played Sanders. He hasn't been playing well all season. He's been out about a month, and then he's your primary ball carrier. Come on, that's not a good thing. I don't. He's not Derrick Henry. He doesn't deserve to get number one reps just because he's Miles Sanders. Not that it would have mattered, but I just think those things just bother me when they do things like that.
You can't run on the Bucs. You can't run on the Bucs anyway. So that was a total mismatch from jump. You knew it was going to go that way. It was a total mismatch. And the Eagles have a Jalen Rieger problem.
Yeah, he's got to go.
They've got to trade him. Philadelphia's eating him alive. He's got to go.
Also, the Rams, the Bucs opponent, blew out Arizona. And not totally surprising because the way Arizona had played at the end of the year, we talked about that. Now the question is going to be a couple of things. First of all, I thought it was silly. Somebody mentioned about, well, is Cliff Kingsbury's job safe? Come on. I mean, you lose Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins, and when things were going great, come on. I mean, he made the playoffs.
People who know Cliff Kingsbury think he might have a little Urban Meyer in him, where like he's antsy and he doesn't have the patience for a build, and not even like he might get fired as much as like he might like try to get fired, or he might like try to, he's always looking for the next domino in his life. Like, I don't know if that's true. I don't know Cliff Kingsbury, but that's what people I know who know Cliff Kingsbury think, is like he's not somebody who's going to coach in the same spot for 20 years like Mike Tomlin is.
Well, we'll see if that happens.
But yes, in no world should he be, if he wants to be their coach, in no world should his job be in jeopardy. 2 years ago, they had the number one pick in the draft. This year, they were on fire. DeAndre Hopkins got hurt. And look, I mean, the one thing to say here about the Cardinals is they have two of the, preeminent players of this generation who can't seem to catch a playoff break in A.J. Green and J.J. Watt. J.J. Watt's a definite Hall of Famer. A.J. Green is a borderline Hall of Famer, I think. And those two guys go to Arizona. You want to see them almost get that Jerome Bettis moment, or that, when all those guys hop on the Patriots to win a Super Bowl late in their career. You almost want to see that for Watt and Green. So it was tough for those guys, I think.
Yeah.
Murray and Hopkins will be back.
Sure. And look, if they're healthy next year and things go well, I don't see any reason why that you don't bring them both back. They have about a year left. AJ's got probably a year left before he's probably done. But JJ is also, it's just more of injuries with Watt. That's the thing there.
Yeah.
All right, now, this Monday night thing. This is the thing I don't understand, is why they were playing this Monday night game. I think for television, we get it.
Wait, did we do the 49ers game?
No, because we're on the LA Tampa thing.
Oh, first. Okay, go ahead.
So here's LA. They win this game, and now they're going to take on the Bucs, but they're doing it on a short week because you just wanted to have an extra game on Monday night. I mean, that's not right.
I agree.
Why did they allow that? Why is that happening?
Why did they allow for an extra TV window, for an extra Manning cast, for extra primetime game? What do you mean, why did they allow? For the same reason the NFL expanded to 17 games, for the same reason they expanded to 7 playoff teams, for the same reason as they cut out a preseason game. Money, 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 money.
Well, they had better be, and I think they will be, crossing their fingers and rooting for the Rams, to win the game, because what they don't want to see is the Rams have a lackluster game. I don't think that's going to happen. I like the matchup with the Rams and the Bucks. I liked it last week because we figured this would be the matchup. The Rams have beaten Tom Brady and Tampa Bay twice. I think they are a perfect fit to beat Tampa Bay because of Donald and that inside penetration that really hurts Brady more than anything. They get Akers back, which gives them another dimension of the backfield. Beckham has been a perfect match since he's been there to go along with Kupp. Stafford gets the monkey off his back with a playoff win. I like the Rams.
Good. You just made a really convincing argument. I don't know who I like in this game. I mean, I know it's my job here to tell you. I mean, this game's a field goal either way to me. I guess I like the Rams from a betting standpoint because they're the ones getting the 3 instead of giving the 3. But to me, this is a field goal game. I don't see the Rams. I know you said they've had their number lately. The thing you said I like the best is the Aaron Donald pressure. I mean, it's funny. I still don't know how to beat Michael Jordan. I still don't know how to beat Tiger Woods. I know how you beat Tom Brady, and it's inside pressure. So, yeah, I guess I like the Rams.
Yeah, and also, I think the way it's looking for the Rams, too, if they go on to win the Super Bowl is that Von Miller is starting to pick things up. So you've got your pass rusher, you've got your Donald, you've got your Jalen Ramsey, you've got your Odell Beckham, Stafford. So everything is lining up for the Rams. Now they got to do it, but they got to go on the road to beat Tampa Bay first, and then they may have to go on the road to take on the Packers as they take on the 49ers, and the Niners get the win over the Cowboys. Yes, no question, the biggest story of the week as far as the playoffs, because first, it was one of the only close games, and second, because, look, we talked about it last week, and you even mentioned it with McCarthy. He's going to do something stupid, or, the coaching staff is going to screw this up for the Cowboys. That's exactly what happened.
I said it. I said it on this show. I said it other places. It was so predictable, and that's exactly what happened, right? That's literally exactly what I was screaming at my TV as the play was unfolding live. Like, what are you doing? You don't have time for this. And that's exactly what happened. They didn't know that Dak in the center didn't know the rules. They didn't know you had to give the ball to the referee. They did, you see smart people like Chris Sims or Joe Banner come out and say it's well known in the NFL that to have a play over the middle like that, you need at least 16 seconds. They did it with 14. So everybody knew it was going to fail except the team that ran it. To use that against Mike McCarthy, to fire him, to promote Kellen Moore is crazy to me because Kellen Moore is the one who called the play.
Agreed.
Yes, McCarthy signed off on it, but Kellen Moore is the one who came up with it.
And shouldn't that hurt Kellen Moore's interviews right now?
Yeah, I don't even understand the rationale, Greg. So there was 14 seconds left. They were at what, the 40, 41, something like that? Are you that much better off with, say it did work. Say you got the ball there with 1 second left. Are you that much better off with one shot from the 25-yard line than you are with 2 shots from the 40-yard line? I think I'd rather 2 shots from the 40-yard line. I don't even think I really understand the thinking. What? It's not like you don't have to throw a 60-yard Hail Mary. Teams had 40-yard routes in their playbook. Like the 25-yard route, the defense is still going to sink back to the goal line and play to keep you out and make a tackle. I don't know. To me, I'd rather have 2 shots from the 40 from 1 to the 25. That made no sense to me.
Yeah.
And Dak Prescott, total classless. I mean, I get it. He's done a lot of good things. He's entitled to screw up once in a while. Heat of the moment, press conference. I get it. He's done good things in the NFL. I get it. Good guy here, good guy there. Long journey back, injury, everything. Can't say that after the game. Can't say that. Can't encourage the crowd to throw things at the officials. Got to be smarter than that. He should be fined.
And he didn't play a good game either. And we talked about how their offense hadn't played as well the second half of the season as the first half. And they just did not look. They need a running game. The thing with Dak is when he's got Ezekiel Elliott running for 130 yards, and he's got the elite offensive line that he's almost had since his existence there with the Cowboys, and he's able to throw the ball all over the place. Hey, okay, I could look like an all-pro here, but all of a sudden, when you can't run the football, which has been a problem for them lately, and we said it last week, Ezekiel Elliott's got to run for over 100 yards to win this football game, and it didn't even come close. Then you're putting it on the hands of Dak Prescott, and how on earth does CeeDee Lamb get 1 catch?
Yeah. He had a couple drops, though, I think, right? It's not like he was only targeted once. He didn't play well.
It's like no offensive. Like you're watching him, you go, how does this make Kellen Moore a head coaching candidate? I don't see anything in this offense that looks like, oh, I want that. That's what I want. And then the last play of the game was just as much his fault as you mentioned. So that's the coach I want on my team? I don't think so.
Yeah.
I'd be shocked if he got a job this season now. But hey, you never know. Okay, so San Francisco. By the way, Jimmy Garoppolo with that terrible penalty, not letting Trent Williams set up on the quarterback sneak. If they would have lost that football game, I just can't even imagine. But
I don't know who would have got it worse, Garoppolo or Kyle Shanahan for blowing leads. I don't know.
So now I think they've put themselves in a position where they've gone as far as they're going to go because they're now taking on the Green Bay Packers. They've got their mind set on, and look, they may get Jair Alexander back. They also may get Zadarius Smith back. And if they get those two guys back in this game, I love them even more. I like them without both of those guys, but I love them even more if they get two of their best defenders back. I just think the Niners have gone as far as they're going to go because Garoppolo against Aaron Rodgers, come on, there's no contest there in my mind because the Packers now have a defense to match up pretty much with a defense like the Niners.
I would say that, except I'm trying to look it up right now as we talk. Didn't the 49ers win? Yeah, so the 49ers beat the 49ers blew out the Packers in
Aaron Rodgers is 0-3 in the playoffs against the Niners.
Yeah. Now, look, he's won the last two games against the Niners, both in San Francisco. In the regular season, so, yeah. I was talking playoffs, Correct, yeah. But the 49ers traditionally have had their number. Shanahan seems to have the number of LaFleur. They came up, obviously, together, same coaching tree. I think it's a closer game than you sound like you think it is. And I like San Francisco's going to run the ball in Green Bay. That's what they're going to do. Run. So, and then play action. So I don't mind the matchup. I think it could be close, but I do think Green Bay wins the game. Actually, I think Green Bay is the only home team I'm picking all weekend.
Yeah, I'm going to say it's going to be something like 30-17. That it's going to be.
Yeah, I see it closer. I see it, 30-23, something like that.
But I'm looking at that touchdown happening like with 5 minutes to go. That seals the deal. So I don't think it's a blowout. I just think it's Green Bay won't have to sweat it out late. Here's an advantage for Green Bay as well. First of all, with Matt LaFleur, they're 24-3 at home. But let's keep in mind, of course, they lost to the championship game last year at home. But the weather. It's going to be a night game. Saturday at Lambeau, and the highs on Saturday, 22 degrees. So it should be around a nice 10 degrees with the windshield factor on Saturday night, which should definitely be a little bit of an edge for the Packers there as well. Okay, so those are your picks. You're going to go with just the Packers at home. All the other road teams you're going with.
Sure, yeah, with the spread. Straight up, I could still flip to the Bucs, I guess. But with the spread, I'll take the Rams.
Okay. All right. So as far as the coaching situation, we'll wrap that up. By the way, Culley was let go by Houston, and that was after our last show. I was not very surprised about that. I think Flores makes a lot of sense there with the Casario ties. So I could definitely see Flores going to Houston. And
Giants have a lot of interest in Flores if he waits, too.
Who?
Giants have a lot of interest in Flores if he waits. If he waits for their search to get started, yeah.
All right, well that would be a smart move. And then, I mean, isn't this we said this last year? Isn't this but Urban Meyer stepped in? Come on, Byron Leftwich to Jacksonville. Can't we put that on the dotted line, sign it off, and say, how could you not do this?
Yeah,
offensive quarterback guy who was your quarterback, and you have a quarterback that you need to be taught. Come on. I mean, that's just a no-brainer. It's got to be Byron Leftwich in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that works out. And who knows what else is going to go on with all these other jobs because, again, there's just not very good jobs. The candidates just aren't there. But we'll follow that. Okay, so anyway, that's going to wrap it up. And next week we'll be previewing the championship round, and I'm sure we'll get more news. And I would guess by the time we talk next week, the Giants will have a new GM.
Yes, and they'll be hot on trying to catch up on their coaching search. Yep.
And you think it's a distinct possibility that it could be Brian Flores if he waits.
If he doesn't get offered and accepted before then, yeah. If anybody wants him, they should offer him and accept him before the Giants even get started.
Oh, okay. Well, smart for the Giants. And you would be okay with that as far as you would get thumbs?
I mean, that's a story for another day. I mean, I think there would be a lot of issues with bringing in another Patriots coach to that franchise.
Okay. Sounds good. Ryan, appreciate it. Enjoy the games this weekend, and we'll talk to you again next week.
See you, Greg.